Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a little test. So we're going to be talking about the book Life with My Sister Madonna, written by Christopher Ciccone. I've always been a fan of tell-all memoirs. I enjoy their kind of salacious element. And this was meant to be released the same week that Mary Trump released her famous book, of course, slagging off her uncle, Donald. I'm not going to talk about that book, but I will give you a quote, just for fun, because this is the first video for my channel, so we'll just add some content. Okay, alright, so what was the book called? Too Much and Never Enough. Alright, let me see if I can find it. I think I put it in my cuttings, so let me go to my cuttings. Mis recortes. Okay. As soon as I sat down, Donald started telling Melania about the time he'd hired me to write The Art of the Comeback, and then launched into his version of my back from the rink redemption story. He thought it was something we had in common. We'd both hit rock bottom and then somehow clawed our way back to the top, in his case, or just mine. Back. You dropped out of college, right? Yes, Donald, I did. It was exactly how I wanted to be introduced to someone I'd never met. I was also surprised he even knew about it. It was really bad for a while, and then she started doing drugs. Whoa, I said, holding up my hands. Really? Said Melania, suddenly interested. No, I've never done drugs in my life. He slid me a look and smiled. He was embellishing the story for effect, and he knew it. And he knew that I knew it. She was a total disaster, he said, smiling more broadly. Right. So we're going to look at around 10 quotes. I'm going to do his voice. It's not quite this. I sound like I'm from New Jersey or something. But he has a very dry voice. It's the Michigan voice, I think. Some readers may say that my dark side caused me to write this book. Others that my sisters did. Some may say that seeing Madonna through my eyes is a way of fully comprehending her. Others, who believe she walks on water, won't. So he reads in this very dry style. Very dry. Right, and we're going to keep going, so we're going to look at the next extract. What have we got? Her dressing room has been painted all white because she believes a white background frames her to the best advantage. Consequently, she insists that all her towels and bed linens also be white. Sigmund Freud would probably have a field day analyzing her predilection for the color symbolizing virginity. Ouch. Ending the prologue. They say that those whom the gods wish to destroy they first make mad with pride. They also say that what the gods give, they can also take away. Tonight represents the high point of my life, but in the future both sayings will epitomize not a god, but a goddess, my sister Madonna. She will become mad with pride, with fame, with the Ogilliness pandering of the sycophants, the mindless adoration of the masses, and what she has given me, the joy of creating with her, of being with her, of loving her, and being loved by her, she will ultimately take away. Let's skip on. Sex. Time passes slowly as I discover my homosexuality and lose my virginity while in the backseat of Russell's Gold's Datsun. One night at a drive-in movie, I'm with Russell in the car. He presses a latch, the car seat flips down, and so do I. Coincidentally, Madonna also lost her virginity with a guy named Russell, and in the backseat of a car as well. Clearly we don't share milly almost identical genes, but also similar fates. Trust her, though, to best me by having her first time in a Cadillac, not a Datsun. We're skipping on now. She's married. She's married to Sean Penn, remember him? They have a questionable relationship, and we're going to comment on this relationship with two excellent extracts. We ready? We are alone in this Mexican tile kitchen. He's wearing blue jeans and a white t-shirt. I'm in a black t-shirt and jeans. That's a point in itself. Why mention that? Let's continue. He pulls out a jackknife. Christopher, let's be blood brothers. I'm shocked, but fight not to show it. Be what? I ask as nonchalantly as possible. Blood brothers. Oh, sure. He and the jackknife are now menacingly close to me. "Show me your thumb," he says, his tough guy growl, even more exaggerated than usual. I'm left-handed, so I hold out my right thumb. Sorry, I went into my own version because I'm also left-handed. Well, I suppose I don't really need it that much. Sean grabs my wrist with one hand and slices the middle of my thumb with the other. Blood drips out. I wince, but not much because I don't want Sean to think I'm a pussy. Then he slices his own thumb. He presses his thumb against mine, and for a couple of seconds I return the pressure. Now we have blood brothers, he says, and slaps me in the back. Maybe 10 years later? Christopher, do you remember that night when we became blood brothers? Sure, how could I forget? They're at an awards ceremony. Sean takes a deep breath. You don't have AIDS, do you? I give him an unprintable answer, then walk away. So this book's full of this kind of really trashy linking of celebrities. Celebrities represent the best material, really. So we're going to go on. I found it. So we're going to go on to In Bed with Madonna, or Truth or Dare, depending on your version. So we're going to talk about one of the most famous scenes in the whole movie. We drive for 1.5 hours to Calvary Cemetery in Bay City. The limo pulls off a lonely paved highway and onto a bumpy dirt road that seems to lead to nowhere. I have a vague memory of traveling down the same road when I was a small child, but neither Madonna nor I have been back to the cemetery in years. We drive through the graveyard gates, one of which is swinging off its hinges in the light breeze, and arrive at the small cemetery, which to me seems overgrown and unkempt. Headstones were arranged in no particular order, and it takes Madonna and me half an hour to finally find our mother's grave. Just as we do, Alec and the crew pull up in the film van. My heart starts pounding. I am furious. What the hell are they doing here, I ask. Oh, didn't you know? Madonna says, wide-eyed. They're shooting this. Have you lost your mind, Madonna? I know she isn't going to answer, so I walk away from her. Please, Chris. Please don't. I just keep on walking. Madonna starts to come after me, then stops. Even she knows better. I'm sick to my stomach. The cameras power up. I fight my urge to rip the camera out of the cameraman's hands and smash it over Madonna's head. Then her performance, which in the completed movie unfolds with the soundtrack of the song Promise to Try, which she co-wrote, playing over it, as well as a montage of Madonna on the tour begins. I lean against a nearby tree, white with rage, and observe my sister's on-camera shenanigans. More theatrics ensue as she lies down next to her mother's grave. I'm going to get in right here. They're going to bury me sideways, she declares. The camera is switched off. Madonna turns to me and says, okay, now it's your turn, Christopher. Her voice says it all. Light, bright, with a subtext of no big deal. I turn my back on Madonna. I am horrified at the lengths my sister is prepared to go to promote herself and her career. I feel she no longer has any boundaries, any limits. Everyone and everything is grist for her publicity mill, part of her career, even our late mother. Some really interesting stuff there. And it's about to get a little bit more messy. So in an interview, Madonna tells everyone that Christopher Ciccone is gay. That's very big news. I was incensed, says Christopher. From my point of view, my sister has evidently decided that outing me to the readers of The Advocate is the perfect promotional tool for the movie. Let's face it, Truth or Dare deals directly or indirectly with sadomasochism, lesbianism, rape, a hint of incest, a dead mother, so why not a gay brother as well? After all, Madonna used my mother's grave as a movie location, so why not use my sexuality as a publicity opportunity? Dramatic. We're in the 90s now, and we're going pure gossip, okay? He's become friends with Demi Moore. Apparently that's how you pronounce it, not Demi, Derby. So, they're having a fun time. They're having a party. It's 3 a.m. They're dancing together. The following Monday, I'm walking through Los Angeles airport about to catch a flight to New York, and out of the corner of my eye, I catch sight of what looks like a picture of me on the cover of the National Enquirer. I walk up to the rack and discover that I'm also on the cover of the Star. Both covers feature fuzzy shots of Demi and a shirtless me dancing together on the bar at Atlantic. Inside one tabloid is a spread, and the eye-catching headline is 3 a.m. No Bruce, no bra, no problem. Oh God, it's now very dramatic. Okay, do you remember Gianni Versace? We're at their funeral. Okay, so we're gonna list off some guests. Okay, Madonna and I join a circle of guests in the small garden, sitting on clear plastic folding chairs, all arranged in a circle. Madonna sits on my right, and a woman who looks like a bag lady sits on my left. Madonna whispers to me that the bag lady is Lisa Marie Presley. I'm incredulous, but on second glance, realize that she is indeed Lisa Marie. Then Pavarotti makes his entrance, and although we all know exactly who he is, he goes around introducing himself. Hello, I'm Pavarotti. Hello, I'm Pavarotti, he announces to each and every one of us. Courtney Love is also there, but Madonna avoids talking to her because she thinks Courtney is crazy. Courtney and I have a moment's hesitation. Or we start having a conversation in which he says, I see Madonna and me as Joan Crawford and Betty Davis, but I can't work out who is who. I smile and shrug. Okay, so Madonna's gone to bed. It's the same night. When I pass one of the guest bedrooms, I see Courtney, dressed in a beige silk mini dress with spaghetti straps. Her hair is messy as ever, sitting on the bed looking sad. She's all by herself, so I sit with her and we start talking. Then she pulls out a packet of Coke, which may have been half an ounce. I got this, she says. But I've never done it before. Would you like to do some? I fight to stop myself from bursting out laughing. You've never done it before? No, I've never done it before. Would you like me to show you? Courtney nods, so I go through the pantomime of showing her how to cut lines, which I suspect we both know she knows only too well, but I play along. We start to party together. Then Donatella beckons from her sitting room across the hall, furnished with black leather sofas with a white mink rug on the floor, and we join her. I break my rule about not doing lines, and we all do them. It's patently obvious that the drugs are a continuing symptom of anguish and the loss of Gianni. Every time Courtney does a line, she proclaims, Okay, that's my second line, that's my third line, that's my fourth line. In the end, I say, Courtney, just stop counting. Meanwhile, Donatella keeps saying, Christopher, Christopher, play Candle in the Wind for me. So I put on the CD, and the moment it ends, Donatella asks me to play it again. Christopher, Christopher, play it for me one more time for me, Christopher. I do, over and over. All the while, Courtney is still counting. This is my 50th time. This is my 51st time. Then the doorbell rings, and it's Ed Norton, who Courtney is seeing at the time. She says, Christopher, go tell him I'm sleeping. I refuse. Then I decide the time has come for me to escape the surreal scenario and go back to reality. So I leave. In this kind of very scandalous book, he also talks about the pressures and the feelings of celebrities. So he suggests making a documentary for Donatella, okay? And so she's about to do a show, which is part of the documentary. And we've got some name dropping of who comes to the show. The show models arrive on Thursday. On Friday, an hour before the show, Kate Moss walks in, comes right up to me and says, Christopher, I need some Coke and a glass of champagne. I say, Kate, are you crazy? You just got out of rehab and you're not getting it from me. Here we have an extract of the actor Jack Nicholson. So Donatella, who's still very much in her drug phase, is offering Jack Nicholson some cocaine. So let's hear what we need to know about this scenario. But before we get to know each other, I meet Jack Nicholson, who's at the party along with Dennis Hopper. Jack, Dennis, Donatella, and I go into the diva room. Donatella pulls out some cocaine and hands me a key. Jack takes one look at me, dipping the key into the bag of cocaine, and says, I'll try that. I've never tried it like that before. I think, bullshit. Famous people like Courtney and Jack never want to admit anything about their drug use. I made Jack a bump. He does it, and so do all of us. Afterwards, we have some inconsequential coke chat. Then Jack leaves. I never see him again, but I'd just done a key bump with Jack Nicholson. Also, around this time, because we're on the same page, Madonna's won a Grammy, and this is a big deal for Christopher, who's very happy. But you have to remember, I listened to it in an audiobook, so this is how he spoke. Although Madonna won a Grammy in 1992, I beg your pardon, she won one, for Best Long-Form Music Video for Madonna, Blonde Ambition Tour Live, none of her albums or songs has ever won a Grammy. It's about fucking time, and I'm rooting for her. She asked me to design and direct her for the opening number. Good to know. We're going to keep going. We're skipping a whole section. Okay, so it's a birthday party of Madonna. It's when she's going through her cultural inappropriation stage, the kimono. So the invitation states that the dress code is kimonos only. Anyone not wearing one will not be admitted to the party. I have a really nice red cotton kimono with white writing all over it, which I bought in Tokyo during the girly show, so I wear that. At the house, all the pathways are lined with lit votive candles, and the garden looks really pretty. Gwyneth and I start chatting. All of a sudden, she screams, "Christopher, you're on fire!" I look down. Flames are curling up my kimono. I rip it off, pour water over it. Gwyneth and I step on it and stamp the fire out. I'm wearing black trousers and a black shirt underneath. I stay at the party, dressed like that. Madonna walks by. I show her my burnt kimono, which now has a hole in it as big as a beach ball. She shrugs. Put that back on. No one is allowed to say at the party if they aren't wearing a kimono. Don't ask me if I'm okay. Don't ask me if I'm burnt. Just stick to your fucking rules. I ignore her and go back to dancing with Gwyneth. I haven't really covered some of the drama that's going on between these two. So, basically, they worked together for a long time and they're starting to fall out. Okay? This is where he talks about one of his only projects he does alone and how damn proud he is. He's struggling, basically. He's broken parts of his body. He's saying he needs to pay $10,000, which he doesn't have. My consolation is my art. And on June 26, 2004, at the opening of Gay Pride Week, the Booty Collection, 25 color Polaroids, blown up to 11 by 14 of my friend's backsides, is shown in San Francisco at the Phantom San Francisco Gallery to great fanfare. Alan Cumming, Amistad Maupin, and Graham Norton all attend and are extremely complimentary about my work. Good to know. Madonna, on the other hand, isn't supportive. August 15, 2004, the Mumford Gallery in Provincetown, Massachusetts, also shows the Booty Collection. It's well received, but my sister makes it clear she doesn't approve of it and doesn't consider it art. The subtext is she assumes that the photographs are the product of a couple of drug binges. Totally untrue. The 2000s aren't particularly good for Christopher. He's struggling, you know. He's got no money, he's not working for Madonna, all of his projects keep ending up in failure. This is where a lot of the one-star reviews came in there. He was just bitching, okay? But Madonna decides that she's going to help him some more. But he has to take a blood test. He has to go through psychiatry. She thinks he's a drug addict, basically. So, let's see what we got. She writes an email. She gives a blow-by-blow account of my behavior that evening as described to her by Ingrid, and most of it is true. This is when Ingrid gives him cheap alcohol for his birthday, and she's upset. The purpose of the email is to let me know that she still believes I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I need help. She suggests that I go to an outpatient rehab center and offers to pay for it. I think about what she has written and take a long, hard look at myself. I don't think I'm an alcoholic or a drug addict, but I do know that due in part to my relationship with Madonna, I've got some serious issues to deal with. So he's going to a rehab center in Miami, okay? There, blood is taken from me, and I spend hours with the psychiatrist explaining my entire relationship with my sister. I explained to him that I don't know if rehab will benefit me, as I'm not prepared to air my issues with Madonna in front of her group. He asked me to come back to the center when the results are in. 4 days later, we have another meeting in which he tells me that neither the blood test nor the conversation indicates either alcoholism or drug addiction. He recommends I have long-term one-on-one therapy and names a good therapist in Miami. With my consent, he emails a copy of his recommendations to Madonna. Madonna rattles off an instant email in response telling the doctor that he doesn't know what he is talking about. The doctor reads to me, My brother belongs in rehab, and that's that. Your sister has control issues, he tells me. Ingrid has apparently also called the psychiatrist, expressing surprise that he had not told me to go into rehab. He repeats his recommendations based on the test and his lengthy consultation with me about my situation. I get an email from Madonna telling me she has received the doctor's assessment and that she disagrees totally with him, but is glad I'm seeking help for my problems and will pay for a number of my sessions. Despite her control issues, I realize that she's been generous and kind in attempting to help me. In January 2007, I started seeing my therapist twice a week. on the proviso that she receive progress reports. Madonna agrees to pay for a fixed number of sessions at $150 a time. With my consent, the therapist agrees to send her a weekly report on my progress in therapy, approved by me and without revealing the content of our sessions, as I want to find a way back to forming a real relationship with Madonna again. My therapist writes to Madonna, reiterating the doctor's feelings regarding rehab. Madonna apparently emails her back saying that she doesn't know what she's talking about, that she has no clue and can't be a good therapist. She tells my therapist that I'm manipulating her. My therapist reacts by telling me that she is glad to be getting such a good idea of my sister. She says that Madonna is not going to go away, and I need to learn how to deal with her, and that she will help me. For the first time in my life, I have someone to whom I can talk honestly and openly. She validates my reality for her. I look forward to our sessions and feel that I am making progress. I am confronting my demons, acknowledging my strengths and weaknesses, and mustering the courage to explore them in this book. That's everything. 21 minutes. Tell me if you enjoyed it in the comments. Tell me if you enjoyed my interpretation of Christopher, and I'll watch this separately.